Hi traders and welcome to the PL Capital Market Review. I'm your host Paul. In this video I want to look at the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Russell, and some of the Forex pairs. If you're interested in getting more updates, feel free to join us in the Discord channel. Lately we've been discussing natural gas and oil, but we've also talked about some individual stocks, so feel free to join us in there. All right, let's get on with the show. Going to start off as usual with the upcoming economic calendar, and we've got quite an impactful week this week for the first week of the year. Tuesday you got global manufacturing PMI, and that's supposed to decelerate once again. ISM manufacturing PMI is actually supposed to just have a little bit of an uptick, but it's still very much in contraction mode. Manufacturing is one of the weaker areas of the market right now, and definitely of all the data points that keep coming out, it's just a one laggard. Everything else is going pretty well. JOLTS job openings is on Wednesday. Slight increase. You do have the FOMC minutes. Now this one I find to be interesting. Usually I say I don't know what could possibly come out of this, but the market will react to it, even though I never understand why, because Powell said everything he had to say. But this one I think could be interesting, just from the standpoint of, in the last Fed meeting in December, Powell just gave every indication that, definitely done raising, and now it's just a matter of when will they start cutting rates. And so the market obviously loved that and exploded higher. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be something in the minutes that just makes the market kind of pause a little, something in there that maybe isn't so dovish as Powell sounded. So that could be interesting, especially when we look at the charts and what I'm seeing. So that I think is going to be worth watching. Thursday, you got ADP employment and the usual jobless claims coming out. Do have the composite and services PMI numbers coming out. And then Friday, you got non-farm payrolls. And non-farm payrolls, they are expecting quite, at least what I think is a substantial decrease. So we were at 199 last month. It's supposed to go down to 163, which just wondering how the market will like that big of a drop. And you also have ISM services PMI, which is still going to remain well above the 50 level there. So services remain strong too. So a lot of big data points for the first week, so be ready for all that coming out. All right, let's go on to the chart. Going to start with the S&P. I'm using the S&P index instead of the futures contract now. I like this one because this is a lot cleaner, and now this looks very much like this is a 1, 2, 3. That's 1. And this whole thing is going to be a diagonal. That was 2, that was 3, that was 4, and we're in 5. We're not done with 5 yet. So I think, after this massive rally, 9 straight weeks of up. This is the weekly chart, by the way. 9 straight weeks of green going up. That's the longest since 2018. So I'm expecting at some point, and it might have already started, if we drill down into like a 4-hour, there was kind of a little bit of a sell-off. There could be that this wave is like the A wave, and now we should be getting a correction, and then still one more up. So the S&P has not broken that 2020 high, 22 high yet, but the Nasdaq did. So it's just a matter of time before they do. But I think what's in play here is they're going to be making a running flat, because I think this ABC, I think that's going to be A, and then they're going to make a leading diagonal that's going to break, then we're going to correct and then still go up, and that will then be the B wave, and then we're going to get a big C wave down. I don't think it'll break that C wave, that low that we made last October, or October 22 actually now. I think it's going to be a big running flat and then up. So let me fix all this to give a better look. So I think it's going to end up looking like this. This will be a big picture view that's going to take, you know, months to play out, but it'll look something like this. So because I thought that there was going to be, you know, that one I've been calling for, this three wave, and then I thought they would, be given a, come on, a 1, 2, 3, you know, just break that July high, and then I thought they would come down in 5 waves, give us a 3, 3, 5 correction, and then go up, but that's obviously not going to happen. So I still think that this is all of this, all of 22, all of 23, and then it'll be well into 24. This is all going to be correction. So this is the A. We're just in the middle of, well, not the middle, but nearing the B wave, and then we're going to come down sharp at some point, you know, after this B wave completes. And we'll have to see. I mean, this B wave could be pushing like way up high. We'll see where that ends. But, you know, then you're going to get a strong C wave down, you know, so maybe, well, we got to wait and see where that B wave, but, you know, maybe something like 4,000 or 4,100 or something at some point, and then go back up, and then this C wave will end this big correction here. So I think all of this is just the correction part before we resume and go much higher. So, but for short term, I'd be looking for a pullback, and then still one more up. So I'd only be looking for buy setups. There's no reason to play for any sell off. You know, there's just nothing in the economy or in the data points that suggest that there should be a big sell off for me anyway. But like I said, I do think that those FOMC minutes could be interesting, and you know, for this little pullback that's going to happen, you know, like that could be a catalyst. Like there could be just something in there that just makes the market get a little spooked. But it'd be just I think a shallow correction for one more up, break that high, and then it's just a matter of how high do they want to go, 4,900, 5,000, who knows, and then you'll have that. This will all be a leading diagonal. Then you get a bigger correction, and then still one more up. So I think it's going to be kind of a choppy market for the beginning of 24. You know, I think we need a pullback first. And it, you know, like I said, it could already be started, or maybe they're going to still push this up. Because when we look at the Nasdaq, I think it'll be a little bit more clear on what is happening here. So let's slide over to that. So here's the Nasdaq. So like I said, we broke that November 21 high. So I definitely had that wrong, because I was expecting us to come up here, break the July high, and then give us a 5-way move, give us that 335 look, and then go, you know, and this would be just a regular flat correction. So they didn't do that. So I'm still looking for this to be the B wave, and we're just in the beginning here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when we drill in on this one, we do have three waves. So there's this one, two, little correction, and then three. So it could be that this fifth wave is in. Now, it also could be that that's just the A wave, and then they're going to create a three-wave move, and then still one more up, and that'll complete the fifth wave. So two zones that I'm looking at. If this is just the A wave, this little three-wave move, and then they're going to create a B wave now, I would expect them to just come down to like 16,275, maybe 15,855. So if it just stops in this area and then goes back up and takes out that 16,969, then this fifth wave ends over here. But if this three wave move up is the completion of the fifth wave, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be like an expanding diagonal here. Have us that look. And it completed. Then if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to here, this three-wave move should be targeting down in here. So somewhere, let's say 15,430 down to like 14,460. Actually, I mean they could take it lower, but I don't see a big sell-off coming. So I think one of these two zones will be it. And that, you know, if you're not in, then this is a great place to start looking down here. And definitely if they come down in here, then this is a really good place. Because if this is going to be the B wave, like I think, so this is 1, 2, 3 for A. This is all one, the A, a B, and then we need one more up for the C of the B wave. And then we'll get that stronger 5-wave sell-off for the C wave before it resumes back up. So, all right, this chart's getting ugly here. So just like the S&P, expecting a sell-off pretty soon here. Not a sell-off, just a correction. And like I said, I think it could just come down into this zone for one more up. But if it does sell off a little bit harder, boy, this is a great place to get in and ride it all the way up to break the high. All right, and the Russell. So the Russell to me looks like we've had this 1, 2 just sitting there. And then I think this is the start of the third wave. So this is like 1, 2, and then there's all these little contracting flats and everything. I think this is 3 up here, and so I'm expecting them to pull back down to like 1980, maybe all the way down to 1923, and this will be 4. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they'll go back up for the 5th wave. And then you'll have your impulse. And then you'll get a much bigger correction, which I think will coincide very nicely with like the Nasdaq. Like I think the Nasdaq has one more up, and I think the Russell has one more up. And then you're going to get a big correction in the Russell, and that'll coincide when you get this move, that bigger C wave coming down. So go back to the Russell here. So yeah, so I'd only be looking again only for buy setups, and I think you can get it down at least down to 1980. Somewhere in here would be a really good place to start to look to go break the high up for that fifth wave, and then there should be a much bigger correction somewhere up there. So yeah, so all those markets, I'd only be looking for more up, but I think you can probably get it a little cheaper. All right, let's move on to Forex. I'm going to start off with the US dollar index. I'm going to go out to a daily, just, so I've been saying that this is, to me, it looks very clear now that this is an expanding flat. So you had this big move down, and then you had this A, B, C, and so far I see this as just three waves. So 1, 2, 3, which tells me that the dollar, I think, is then going way down, because after this expanding flat, there needs to be 5 waves. And if this is just ABC, then that tells me that they're going down in an ending diagonal. And all of this is just 1. And now they're going to come up for a 2. And they could come up real high, but I wouldn't expect it to be real high. Maybe, I don't know, 102s or 103s. And that'll be 2, and then they're going to come down still for a 3, 4, and a 5. And I think then the target is going to be, could be all the way down to like 90, in the 93s if the levels play out. But we'll have to see where this third wave is to see if they're going to get down there. But first, I need to make sure that this only comes up in 3 waves, because this is 3 waves. I mean, it's possible that I've got this wrong, and this is an impulse, but instead of being a C wave, that's just the first wave, and then you got this big deep correction ABC, and then they come all the way up to go break that, but I don't see them going back up to 107 level, especially when I look at the other currency pairs. So I think this ABC should be complete. It looks like they kind of bounced off of this low now, made a little correction and went up. So I think they're just in the process now of starting to create a 3 wave for the 2. But then, like I said, then there's a whole lot more selling to come. And so then when we slide over, just look at a couple of pairs. The euro. So I think the euro is in a big running flat. I'm sorry, the euro, the pound, when we look, the pound I think is making a running flat. This one I think is making a leading diagonal, actually. So 5 waves, correction, and up. So I think this is 1, 2, 3. I think that was 1. And then this was 2. And it's either this is 1, 2, and that's 3. But when I really look a little closer at these waves, it almost looks like this is all just 5 waves to me. So I want to see this area right here, right where they're at right now, and maybe just a little bit lower, down to like 109.8, because it could just be that this is 1. They're going to correct here shallow, and then still go, and that'll be 3, and then they'll go back down for 4, and then still go back up for a 5th wave. So it's either this is 3, and they're creating the 4th wave, and then they still have one more up for the 5th, or they're just in the middle of the 3rd wave. So either way, I mean, buy setups are the way to go. That's the only way to play this, because I'd only be looking for more up. At least one more to break 111, or they could be breaking it 2 more times, because they'll be finishing 3, come down for 4, and then go up for 5. So at least one more up, and potentially 2 more. So I think this is all going to be just a big diagonal, because when we look at the bigger picture, the target is up here, and like let's call it like 114. I think they'll actually target more like 118. So there's a lot more that needs to happen in the euro to go up. That's what I see there. So I'd only be looking for buy setups and a lot more up. And then the pound, So looking at the daily, I had this big flat here. And so its target, I still think, is like 137. So the pound's got a lot more to go. And then when I look down at this one, this is where I see the running flat. So I think this was all a leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was A. Then they came up 1, 2, 3. And if they come down to this trend line here that I have, so it'd be like 125. I think that'd be a great place. Now, it could be that this B wave just isn't even done. Like this first 3 wave, that's A, and maybe all this is just B. And so then maybe they've got still one more up before they give you that stronger C, that 5 wave C wave, and then resume up. So just like the euro, though, I'd only be looking for buy setups. I mean, it's pretty much buy and hold that for weeks at a time now. So just watch this. I mean, if it comes down in 5 ways, and so far I only see 3. So maybe this will be a diagonal if it does come down. But when it comes down into this, this is a great place to buy. But like I said, this could just be the A up here. You're going to make a B and still go up before they give you the 5 wave. But either way, I mean, just looking for buy setups. And then the pound, the yen. So I still think the yen actually has more up because I think they're making this big running flat. Now this is getting a little bit stronger sell-off than I thought because I thought the C wave was over here. ABC down to here. And I thought then they were in a position to go. But it looks to me now that they're making an ending diagonal for the C. So I had this A, here's B, and then it looks like just 1, 2, 3, that's 1. Here's a 1, 2, 3. I think that's 2. It looks like this is down to here is 1, and then a shallow correction 2, and then down. So that could be 3, and I think that's possibly 4 or just part of 4. And then they still got to come down one more time, break that 140.24 low. And then I think that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that'll be your C wave. Or at least it'd be a good place to look for a buy setup because you'll have an ABC and then they could still go up one ABC and then still drop one more time. But, at least you'd be able to catch that little correction. But it would be in a position that this is all the correction and then you're totally going up to break the high. So I'd only be looking for buy setups, but I'd only be looking down underneath 140.24. All right, so that's the market and Forex pairs. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your likes and support. And I will see you in the next video.